morning, Central Texas. Welcome to Kids Community Connections at My Kids 1031. I'm Phyllis Jones, your host this morning. And guess what? I'm the host and the guest. Isn't that cool? I know. You all know that it's my soapbox time when I'm the host and the guest. But anyway, we're going to have a good time. You know, first thing I want to talk about is, you all know, the first of the year, when I told you that my hot topic for the entire year, or most likely more than a year, will be our human trafficking. And the news I want to tell you is not the news that we want to hear. And we don't want to know that as of right now, Bell County surpasses the state in child sex trafficking. So Bell County is it. Out of 254 counties in Texas, Bell County is number one as far as a county for child sex trafficking. And that means that we've been falling down on the job. You know, that means that when we say it takes a village to raise a child, the kids are in the wrong village because the villagers aren't protecting the children. So we can't say it takes a village to raise a child, because our village of Bell County, we just failed. We failed miserably. Anytime a county our size, and as we say, our comfort, our dynamics, all these things we give Bell County and say, and then we find out that we're number one in the county, of all the counties. And like I said, Texas has 254 counties. Yes, I checked to find out because I wanted to know how it looked, but it doesn't look good. But how it will look better is that when we're all organized, when we're all trained, and when we know what child sex trafficking is and is not. You know, we've been doing a lot of trainings in Killeen, a lot of trainings all over Bell County, and we need to do more. We need to do more, because by knowing this number, that means that we're turning our heads. You know, I was talking to a lady about it the other day, and she goes, I don't want to talk about that. That's depressing. Well, you know what? I told her, then you're one of the ones that's helping it grow. You know, and she looked at me like I had lost my mind, but I looked at her again. No, you've lost yours. Yes, this is a depressing topic. Yes, no one wants to talk about it. I agree with that. I agree. We don't want to talk about it. We don't want to face it. We just want to pretend that it's over there somewhere where we can't find it or see it. Well, it's not over there somewhere. It's right here in your neighborhood. It's right here in the house next door to you. It's right here where you might drive to work every day, and there could be a lot of houses on your way where trafficking is done. So we need to take the blinders off. We need to stop saying it takes a village to raise a child until we actually do it. Because like I said, we're not doing it. Our kids need to go live in another village, because obviously we don't know what we're talking about. Child sex trafficking and human trafficking total together is a $2.2 billion business in Texas. And listen to what I said, $2.2 billion in Texas. You know, lately you don't hear a lot about drug busts anymore. You really don't. You don't hear. But you know why? Because it makes more money for human trafficking. And why I say human trafficking, because human trafficking encompasses child sex trafficking and labor trafficking. And if you read the paper this week, you will notice that Bell County got hit pretty hard with a couple of raids on massage parlors where human trafficking is going on. You know, so some of you that go to these massage parlors, better be careful about where you're going, and look around and listen to where you are, because human trafficking is going on there. You know, so you go to some of these massage parlors and you get the massage by, a lady that's there. You don't know whether she's there because she's being paid to be there and she's happily there, or she's not there because she's been trafficked, and it's labor trafficking to be there. And in some of the massage parlors, both are going on. The sex trafficking and labor trafficking, they're both going on at the same time in the same places in some of the massage parlors. So this week in Killeen, Harker Heights, and a couple of other cities in Bell County, they got busted. And they got busted for those very things. And I know you might say, I don't read the paper, I don't listen to news, but we need to look at it. You know, we need to face it. It's going to happen. We need to know. I want to know where those massage parlors are. I want to know, because I want to know, are they still open? Even though they got busted this week, I want to know if they're still open. And if they're still open, why? Because we know what happens. You know, they're going to cool down for a little while till they think all the smoke is over with, then they're going to go back again. You know, so we need to know where those places are and what's going on. You know, that we have clubs in Bell County where both are going on. Labor trafficking, you have girls that are forced to work there. And then you have sex trafficking where, you know, also, I guess if you whatever they do and however they do it in the clubs, sex trafficking is going on also. So we have it all around us, and everywhere we go, you know, is going on. But like I said, it's time for us to wake up. Now, on the 24th of March, a group called Save Our Children Clean will be having a kind of a panel discussion, a talk about child sex trafficking, what it looks like, what it is. You know, one of the questions you're going to be asked is it going on next door to you? And your answer is going to be, no, it's not. Well, really? Do you really, really know, or do you just think you know? You know, that's always my question when people say, no, I know my neighbors. Well, really, how well do you know them? You know, how well do you know it's not going on? Can you say for certain that, you know, within a 24-hour period it's not happening? Well, eventually you're going to go, no, I can't. I'm just assuming. And, you know, we know what assuming really goes for. You know, so we need to open our eyes and look, and we need to stop saying, I don't want to talk about it. You know, a long time ago, domestic violence, you didn't want to talk about it. It was the secret that was kept in the house. You know, you were raised, some of us were raised at a time, and it still goes on today, I suppose, where your mother and your father told you what happens in this house stays in this house. And unfortunately, we abided by those rules. And I'll say unfortunately because incest was going on. We had domestic violence, although then it wasn't domestic violence, it was just a man beating up his wife. But, you know, all those things were going on, and we just walked away and quietly left it alone because what happens in this house stays in this house. And what happens in her house down the street, she let her deal with that. Well, that's all we knew. You know, and what we do, we let it escalate till domestic violence. Now it's just, oh my gosh, it's out of control. It's just ridiculous. But it happened from what stays in this house. What happens in this house stays in this house. What happens down the street, don't worry about that because that's down the street. That's not you. Through all those things we were told to look away from, we've allowed more things to happen and more things to grow. You know, like I said, domestic violence, don't talk about it. You know, incest, oh, leave it happened at home, don't talk about it. Well, all those don't talk about it, look where it's landed us now. So with our child sex trafficking and our labor trafficking, I don't want to talk about it, look where we are right now. Look where we are right now from, I don't want to talk about it. That's a sad subject, I don't want to talk about it. That's not good, I don't want to talk about it. You know, a friend of mine at school was talking about it. I was, you know, asking her, I'm like, hey, listen, I sent you a video on trafficking, need you to look at it. She goes, I don't want to look at it because it's sad and I don't want to see it. Well, okay, if it's so sad and you don't want to see it, if I teach you how to look for, what to see, what to say, then you should be glad I did it. Instead, I got I'm not going to look at it. You know, and I was like, really? Wow. Okay, well, and then later on that day, I hear her talking about the village issue. Well, no, you can't have a village over here and don't talk about it over there. What kind of village is that? You know, it's not a village, it's chaotic. But if that's what she thinks a village is, I don't want to live in her village. I don't want no kids living in her village. You know, so I'm going to say to everybody right now who keeps saying that it takes a village to raise a child, open your mouth, take those words out and throw them away. Because in lovely Bell County, we're it. We're number one. But we need to, like I said, Thursday at 6 o'clock, no, excuse me, Thursday at 7 o'clock at the Killeen Community Center, the group Save My Children Killeen will be having a panel discussion, and it'll be an open discussion. So you won't be sitting and listening to a panel talk and you don't say anything back. It'll be a communication, back and forth communication, because the start of this will be to make you understand what it is and what it isn't, to make you understand what ages it start with, and to also get you to understand it's not just girls. It's not girls, it's boys too. And I know in the paper I read where someone said that the girls and boys that were attractive were taken. That has nothing to do with it. What you got to remember is they want a body. They don't care what the body looks like, just the body, because they can sell that body. That body can. So forget the fast girl who wore the short dresses and all. Forget that. Forget the boys who had more switching dips in the hip than the girls, and the boys who were handsome. Forget all that. Just throw all that out of your mind and realize this is all about the body. It doesn't matter what color the bodies are. It doesn't matter what they look like, how their hair is combed. Throw all that out your mind. Get rid of that, you know, because that's archaic way of thinking. And some people, that's a safe zone for them, you know. They feel comfortable saying that now, you know, they can discount it and say, okay, just only those people. Well, there's no those people. Those people don't exist. It's a body. And, you know, whenever I think whenever I can say in one state, any state, but one state makes $2.2 billion off of children and adults too, because the sex trafficking is from 9 to 23. Labor trafficking is the same age group, but more it's a little older, because some of the women are a little older for the labor trafficking. But whenever you can find that drugs are making less money, but this is because I can sell a body more than I can sell a drug. We're doing bad, people. We're not doing good about this. And I don't care if you say I don't have any children at home, because guess what? I don't have any kids at home either. I don't. But if I'm claiming to live in this village, then all the children are mine, just as well as all the children are yours. If you're listening, all the children are ours. So no longer can we stick with this village issue and allow these things to go on. If so, we're just talking to ourselves, and we might as well just look in the mirror, just talk to you, and get up and leave, because you're the village and you're in your own village. And you're telling me that it takes a village to lose a child. It takes a village to mess over a child. And if we're going to have our children grow up to take the places that we have right now, we have to first protect them. Now, I know before we would say, oh no, we just need to educate them. Well, you know what? We got to protect them as we educate them, because kids are being taken that are younger. So we need to pay attention to that. Forget that all of this is because of social media. No, can't blame social media for all of it. I can't blame that, because that was something people, oh yeah, just social media. No. It's not just social media. So you can't dump it on there. People say, oh, just the apps on your kid's phone. No, you can't count that either. You can't just leave it there. It's kids walking in the street, and it's not take the kids off the street. Let's invent another program. No, programs aren't going to help this, because programs are designed for certain kids. So forget the programs, because what we're trying to do is take it off of us. When we say we need more programs, we need more access to things at the community center, at the rec center. We need this. No. It takes adults to stop the trafficking. Adults, we have to stop the trafficking. Programs, no. You can have all the programs you want, and it's not going to stop it. So we got to understand and get it out of our head of, let's make a program. Let's give these kids a place to go. Well, sometimes the place where they're living is the problem. There was a man who put his 4-year-old daughter on Craigslist, for trafficking. So I'm sure, first of all, his neighbors didn't know, and she couldn't have been in any program because she wasn't old enough. So what do we say about that? And also I hear people saying, well, we'll make sure it doesn't happen in our city. No, because we have kids that are trafficked to our city. So, we can't have programs for kids in our city. Then we're going to talk about the kids who are trafficked to our city. I asked a person that too, when she had told me we just need some more programs. And I asked her, what do we do about the kids that are trafficked to us? She looked at me like I was crazy, because that's not the answer she expected me to give her. She didn't expect me to give her a question with her question. She just was, talking really, as she called, good and smart and up to date. And we just got to put some more programs in place. First of all, who's going to do the programs? And second of all, like I asked her, who's going to take care of the girls and the boys who are trafficked to us? We can't say, listen, if you're trafficked and you didn't come from Killeen, we got a program for you. Really? No, it's not going to work that way. So adults, we need to wake up, shake our heads, forget the sadness of it. Because if you don't want to talk about it anymore, then let's help get rid of it. That's the only people we need right now. Talk about it, bring it up, and get rid of it. And we can get rid of it. We can stop it. We can stop anything that we desire to stop, just like we can start anything we desire to start. And also with the trafficking, voting comes into that. And I know you're going to say, what the heck did she get that from? Easy. Our legislators last year, they voted for a lot of help for kids who are taken out of child sex trafficking and child labor, which is, the labor trafficking. They put money into programs. No, excuse me. They passed a law for the programs. They really did. And all the programs we need are in place, are right now. They're there. The programs are there. But guess what they didn't do? They didn't fund the program. Now, they put the programs in place, but they didn't fund it. So basically, you didn't do anything, because you can't have a program and you don't fund it. Program doesn't exist. So now what we need to do is go back to our legislators and tell them, now that you've passed it, fund it. Put some money in it. And we don't have money. That's not true. We have a rainy day fund that, our state does not ever want to use for anything. There's a rainy day fund. You normally in education, every year education battles against transportation for money. And I don't understand why we have to battle anybody for money in education, because if there's money in education, you won't have anybody to hire to do these roads and this construction work. But anyway, transportation always wins over schools when it's time for our legislators to spend money. So we need to, when we have these forms for legislators that are running this year in November, some of those questions need to be, are you going to go back and fund all the agencies and all the things you created for child sex trafficking, or under the one umbrella of human trafficking? Are you not going to go back and fund it? Yes, we're glad about the agencies, but go back and fund them. Just do that one simple thing, fund them, and then they can begin to work. So that's where politics come into play. When we need to, like I said, we need to fund them. They need their money just as well as everything else to work. Can't put an organization together and say, okay, this is I'm not giving you any money. So we need to go back and ask them to fund all the agencies and the programs that they put together to help the kids when they get out. We need to ask them to fund them. I know the good thing about what happened in Bell County, one of our, I guess I'll say, a children's safety agency that we have in Bell County, went to our county commissioners and told them they need more space for when these kids are brought back home, or brought here, or they find here in Bell County. We do have a place for them to go, a safe place for them to go, but we need more space. So what they did was they not opened up JJAEP, where there was a building, it was JJAEP, and it was an alternative campus next to the Bell County Juvenile Detention Center. Well, that building isn't being used right now for anything. It's just there. So our county commissioners have graciously voted yes to allow them to use that building for extra space, which is a good idea, and it's great that they're doing it, but it's bad because it had to happen. So I'm saying it's good that they did it. I'm glad that they said yes. That shows that they are stepping forward. That shows they are putting their money where their mouth is, because they're against human trafficking also. But at least I'll say in Bell County, our commissioners, they did see, yes, we can do this. And, they've opened up that building so far with 9 or 10 rooms they've opened it up with. So we know if needed, it could be more, which is great. And not great, because that means we're growing in a direction that we don't need to be growing in. So the rest of this whole year, every now and then, you're going to hear me talk about it. But on the 24th of March at 7 o'clock, I need to see you at Killeen Community Center with your eyes and ears open and receptive. I want us to honestly start looking. When you're driving to work, I want you to pay attention to the neighborhood. Pay attention to things you might see, might not see. Pay attention to the house where these vans with no windows are in the morning. 2 and 3 of them are parked there, and you don't know whether they're business or not because there's nothing on the vans. Well, be careful and pay attention to it. And if you think it might be something like that going on, call the police. They would rather come out to find nothing. That they're just, some people, and they got some vans, or they got this in front of their house, and it's just nothing. They would rather that than you not calling there be something going on. Myself, the way I go to work a couple of different ways. But anyway, one day I went to work, decided to go another way, and I went down the street, and the living room, the windows in the front of the house, they weren't there. I'm like, it's kind of weird. Where are the windows at? I was just like, weird. Where are the windows? So I turned around and went back. The windows are bricked in. Oh my gosh. So I'm thinking, why are you bricking your living room, your windows in the front of your house? Why brick them in? That looks weird to me. It looked really strange. So I called the police, and I'm not going to say what happened, but I did call the police. They did respond. And the house still looks like that, but, it's a couple of things that are different now. First of all, the people who live there aren't there. And so it's kind of, you know, different, but you know, it was just something I noticed as I was paying attention, because I was actually paying attention. I wasn't just, you know, looking. And now that I am more aware, now that I'm more aware and everything else, I'll pay, you know, I want everybody to pay attention to when you're driving down the street. I want you to look at the houses. I want you to see what's going on. And once again, as we know, Texas is, Houston, Texas actually, is the #1 city in the United States for child sex trafficking. But the #1 state for human trafficking, which is both, is Atlanta. So let's not become Atlanta. We don't need to do that. And also I want you to remember that Bell County, Texas, out of 254 counties in Texas, Bell County is #1 in child sex trafficking. The only ones who can change those numbers are us. We don't need more programs for children. We don't need more things for kids to do. We as adults are the only ones who can stop that. A child can't stop that. It takes us to stop that. So we need to get to work. And like I said, when we say it takes a village to raise a child, we're lying. We are. Because if it takes a village to raise a child sex trafficking and human trafficking would not make $2.2 billion in the state of Texas if we claim that. So I'm going to stand against any organization, any group that tells me that they're all about children and, you know, takes a village to raise a child. I'm going to tell you straight up, you're lying to me, because if you are that, and if it does take that, then why is trafficking making $2.2 billion in the state of Texas? So I'm going to throw it out there, and I'm going to tell every group, every association, I don't care who you are, what you're doing, whatever you're doing, you're not doing it right for our kids. Because if so, Texas would not make that much money off of our children. Not off of us. Not selling drugs. Off of our children. And you know, if our children and our children that are living today are not our future. They are today because they're here. If we're going to educate them and bring them right, we must keep them safe. So Thursday at 7 o'clock at the Killeen Community Center, I expect to see everybody there. I want so many people there that they're going to have to move us out of the room and move us into a big room. I want to hear the questions. I want to hear engaging conversation. Because if you're just sitting there taking notes, we're going to talk later on, because that's not me. You need to be talking. You know, as you go to work, as you go wherever you go this week and from now on, pay attention to the neighborhood, because trafficking can be going on in house next door to you, streets down from you. On your way to work, you can see a house and you think nothing of it. You look at it again, you go, whoa, house is kind of strange. Well, like I said, the police would rather call you and find nothing than you not call and something's going on. You know, so, and I know about the story that we used to be raised with, what happens in the house stays in the house. Just throw that away, because as we know, that caused more problems than it did good. It allowed us to let things progress that got out of hand, it got out of control. Therefore, certain things are happening now that happened then only because we listened when our parents and our grandparents or whoever were in charge said, whatever happens in the house stays in the house. I don't think that's what they meant, but when they said it, everybody took it to heart and we let things go. So by all means, let's stand up, let's stand out, and let's stop human trafficking. Let's just stop it. Let's just stop it. There's no reason to allow it to go.